Hello, everyone, and welcome to Timeout with Derek and Joe, the final episode of Timeout with Derek and Joe. As always, for Joe Aslina, I am Derek Gano. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. And in case this is coming as a shock to you, well, here it is. If you would have watched the last episode at the very end, we talked about how this is the final episode of Time Out with Derek and Joe. And though it was difficult to do, we came to the decision, and it was Joe. I'll let you take it from here, but um, since it's been pretty much a year, I think it
Yeah.
was this exact time last year that the Lehigh Valley baseball tournament was happening. Because I'm getting statuses on Facebook about what you said last year about announcing and stuff. So,
Right.
um, for those that don't know, that's what got us started, and it went from there, huh?
Yeah, it was a conversation me and Derek and I had actually at Fairview Park after announcing some games. Derek brought a scorebook, girlfriend Lindsay, met Lindsay, and then from there we decided we wanted to talk about a podcast. And this is our 81st, I think, episode,
80th.
or
This is
80th.
80.
It's 80th. So we're ending on an even note.
Yep.
But yeah, kicked off from there, not knowing names, not knowing about these teams, looking through papers and looking through websites. And that was a good first show. That was a real interesting way to kick it off, if you will. Dan Valanci, my cousin, your friend and former coach, really helped us out as we got started. And it's like a bittersweet day today. I'm feeling mixed emotions, like sad, happy, just kind of happy with what we accomplished, I should say. Of course, not happy that it's ending, but yeah.
Well, and if you look back, I know we both kind of look back at earlier episodes in the beginning. We really took some steps, didn't we?
Yeah.
Growing more comfortable, because I could feel my voice cracking back in the day, and
Yeah.
saying is my filler word, as they say. So
Right.
uh or I still do that. I mean, I can never get rid of that, but
It's a habit.
yeah, it took me so long, for those that don't know, to get the verbiage that you heard in the beginning of this episode. It took a while to get that down. I remember I even screwed it up a couple times. That was and but were there any highlights that come to mind before we actually have a little compilation video of all the episodes that we're going to show you in just a little bit here? But any highlights, Joe, that stood out?
Yeah, I mean, I think like one of my favorite ones is bringing my brother on for the first time. That was pretty cool. We never really did any podcast stuff together, and Mike always enjoys talking sports. We do that usually on his drive home from work, so it was cool to get into some buy or sells with him. And one of my favorite ones has to be where I confused Alabama and Florida in geography. That got a huge laugh for both of you guys. That was definitely not one of my best moments. And then also when I forgot to pick the Kansas City Chiefs in the top five, and they're the defending Super Bowl champs. So another weaker moment, but no, and just as we'll probably talk about in a little bit, just our interviews we had with certain people. We did that. We did different topics. We didn't just stick to one certain area. We really did a lot. And if I do future podcasts, I'm going to try to stick to one certain area because it's a little easier, but we really did challenge ourselves in many ways. So I was proud of that too. And the support we got, I know I have a bunch of people to thank at the end, but it's really cool to like see the former teachers, our coworkers and families
Yeah,
and friends. It was
yeah.
really cool to see a lot of the people really that got into that know us. And it made me feel glad to be a part of this for sure.
Yeah, and right afterwards here we'll get into our thanks. Joe mentioned we'll some of the guests, interviewers, or interviewees, family, friends, but um of course, we do appreciate everyone who has stuck with us throughout this entire time, who's been a faithful viewer, and those who have shared on Facebook, and those who follow on Twitter and YouTube, and everything we've been asking you to do for all this time. But we very much do appreciate it, and I'm glad we did it. It was very fun, and maybe I've never been a good like public speaker or anything, so maybe it helps. Granted, I'm just talking to a screen here, but maybe it helps with that moving forward. Who the heck knows? But yeah, we did go a bunch of different sports. I think in the beginning we may have said we were focusing on baseball, but man, we went everywhere. We moved to NFL very quickly, and then college football, college basketball, and then our baseball came back. We did a bunch of those, all of the divisions, all of the top five lists of around the diamond. That was pretty fun to do with the wheel. The wheel got out
I did
there.
love the wheel. I did love the wheel.
We tried to keep it a little different each time,
and
yeah, we tried to do a lot of different things. So we hope we kept you entertained for that time. So why don't we take a look back here, and we have a nice little compilation video of all the episodes. So here you go, everyone. How about you check it out? Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Timeout with Derek and Joe.
Welcome, everyone listening. Tonight, this will be our first podcast.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second podcast of our new show, Timeout with Derek and Joe. Thank you, as always, for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Is a little segment we're calling Old Faces in New Places. We have a great show planned for you today, all about football, as you can tell with my my cheese head here.
So yeah, Baltimore, New Orleans, my Super Bowl champion is the New Orleans Saints.
Here's what the playoff brackets look like. And we're going to give you our predictions for each of the wild card series matchups. Phil, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. Thanks, Joe. Honored to be the first guest. Really excited to talk some baseball.
But we're going to start out in the American League, and that was the Tampa Bay Rays and the New York Yankees.
Joe's brother, Mike. Welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on. I've enjoyed the first 7 episodes, and you guys are doing a great job. I'm just excited to join you tonight and have a good time talking sports, something we all love to do.
Anyone interested in talking hockey with us, you can probably not, but feel free to jump down to the comments. Who do you think is going to win the World Series? Who do you think is going to be the MVP of the series? The Los Angeles Dodgers with their first World Series since 1988. Very interesting, Joe. You mentioned 2 quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, neither of which is my pick. I went with Justin Herbert.
Joe, you're hoping for all these big names, but the Phillies don't really need all these big names. They need bullpen guys, and you're not really naming any bullpen guys.
Liam Hendricks, buddy. What's on the list? But no, we've got some college basketball. We're gonna go through the top 25, break down a little bit of that, and maybe compare it to what was in the first week, even though we're only in week 2.
We're going to be starting something up that we're just simply calling top 5 lists. And it's going to be stuff all around the world of sports in terms of our top 5 list. So today we are talking about top 5 sports movies. Our 3-tiered football episode with high school, college, and NFL. What do we have planned for today, Joe?
Derek, we have some questions we got from some of our listeners out there. Thank you to the Timeout listeners.
Team Up, Penn State. coached by
Great
James
segue.
Franklin, who's in his 7th year now already.
Dodgers just really had it all and will still have it all, probably, depending on free agency, maybe a little bit. But hats off to the best team in baseball for finishing what they have, tried to finish for a couple of years now. Team down south more than them that in the Alabama Crimson Tide, that I'm sorry, like they're just what in our age of football right now.
Secondly, Alabama is not further south than Florida, Joseph. We gotta get you.
I need a map.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are putting this out on video, but mine and Derek's face when you said that was that's all you need, man.
Joe, we're moving on to a little game here.
Yes.
We're gonna call fill in the blank. So these are our 2 games this time around. We're calling it first game. We're calling what are the odds? Some, but we have a new game this week, and it's going to be called What's the Word? Joe and I have been talking about how we want to keep our show fresh, keep it interesting. So one idea we came up with was we were going to start up some interviews. My uncle John Bisco, thank you very much for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy holidays to everybody. And this should be a lot of fun. Barry ran a route for Pepperidge Farm. So, we had the Milano cookies and all that. Barry's giving the kids cookies, Joe. We just got hammered 14-0. So I'm sitting there and I took the cookies out of his hand and I said, "What are you doing?"
We are bringing on one Dan Villani. Thank you very much, Dan, for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. It's great to listen, but even better to be here. I think when it really comes down to it, we were a really tight-knit group from the year previous that we just talked about. We went to, the Eastern Final, but it was we were just friends. At that point, I think we were talented because our group was just so close, as we did everything on the court the same way we did everything off the court.
So as Joe mentioned, top 5 most unbreakable sports records. Joe, we are doing the top 5 especially with the Heisman season. We will talk briefly about the Heisman, with the top 5 individual seasons by a Heisman Trophy winner. Top 5 best Super Bowl performances, obviously with the Super Bowl coming up next week.
Real quick, Tom Brady's not losing in the first round. I got news for you. It's not happening. He's not losing in the first round. I don't care if you play in Alaska. He's not losing in the first round. He didn't go to Tampa Bay to lose in the first round. As much as I've been all over Buffalo and I've said, Derek, you got to pick them one week. You got to help your girlfriend out, showing her that you're ready to go to Buffalo to watch the Super Bowl. I think the Buffalo Bills story ends Sunday night.
Any more questions, Joe, or this is where I'm gonna go off at this point.
Derek, it's all yours. I've been waiting for this. So we'll be featuring 2 special guests, and I think it's going to be really entertaining to see 2 different points of view. From a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, and one of my friends growing up was a huge Chiefs fan and still is to this day.
Mike, did you notice anyone missing from that top 5?
How in the world do you not have the Kansas City Chiefs in your top 5 NFL teams?
Joe, we have special guest Kyle Mesa, who we're happy to have him here tonight.
I do want to welcome Leonard to the show. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. And there it goes, the first season that Timeout went from the beginning to the end.
We will be warming it up with some hot stove talk in Major League Baseball, some trades, some free agent signings. This is my favorite night of the year. Probably, maybe Christmas might have a close second, but this is seriously one of my favorite times. I'm so excited for spring training. We're going to talk today about the top 5 current starting pitchers.
Joe, around the diamond we go. And where do we stop next?
So we're going to have a pit stop here behind the plate, which is an important position on the field. Well, we are going to go to a division that I was definitely I'm trying to think of the right word right off the bat here, and I would say underwhelming. The division of being underwhelmed.
Our first annual Timeout tournament. regarding NCAA basketball, right, Joe? Again, around the diamond we go, Joe. Next stop is
90 feet from home plate, Derek, first base. Yeah, the AL East to me is I think it's the second best division besides the NL East. I think it goes NL East to AL East.
For now, that will do it for our AL Central preview. We ran through the Chicago White Sox, Cleveland Indians, Detroit Tigers, Kansas City Royals, and Minnesota Twins. So there is you can see the black there, and you see Joe's white timeout with Derek and Joe. Joe's cousin, Nick DiGirolamo. Welcome, Nick. We appreciate you coming on the show. Hey, we welcome another guest, Phil Gunther, to talk about a little NL West. Welcome, Phil.
It's a pleasure to be here, Derek and Joe.
On this day last week, we were getting ready for the tournament, and now we're going into the round of 16, which is exciting stuff. Yes, we have a really interesting division. I think this is not so much the AL East, but I think the AL West has some good teams, and even the bottom teams are still decent enough. But this rounds it out, like you said. It's a perfect way to say it. And you have your Mariners, Derek.
Today is our overview of the MLB.
I can't believe we're actually here. Don't need the likes. We want the comments. Follow us on Twitter, our Facebook group. We want you to enjoy it, and we want you to have as much fun as we do putting these shows on. So thanks again for all the support out there, though. Baylor, and man, did they deserve the win. And Derek, we both really didn't see it coming. Like, we thought Baylor was good, but I don't know about that. I mean,
I picked Baylor to win.
Oh, that's right.
If
you did
recall in our
right.
I didn't say by this many points, but
I think more so for me is, that was the first one, last night being the second one. We're getting games ended very controversially, and we have replay. Like, replay was supposed to be the fix.
It's funny just to look at Zach Wilson, and I do hope the guy has a great career, but he is really young looking. Like, just to see him on draft night, I was like, he looks like he's 16 years old. He kind of reminded me of like Doogie Howser, actually. I thought about that the other day.
Joe Dolan, owner and managing editor of fantasypoints.com and host of Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Joe, we appreciate you very much for coming on. Today is our top 5 best athletes who have never won a championship. So we're going to go with all-time designated hitters in Major League Baseball, top 5 list. Today we are doing the top 5 greatest Olympic performances. Welcome everyone to our live play-by-play broadcast of the St. Louis Cardinals and the Philadelphia Phillies. So welcome everyone as we are doing a new play-by-play broadcast of a baseball game today between the San Diego Padres and the Houston Astros. Welcome to our next play-by-play broadcast of the New York Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Derek Holland. No.
Oh no.
Scott Kazmir. Oh my gosh. Playoffs are a little different this year in the NBA as opposed to the normal 8 teams from each conference. 10 teams are making it from each conference. This was out of 72 games, not 82 games.
Thoughts, Derek? Are you gonna hate both my honorable mentions? Oh no, I'm over 2.
No, I hate that one too. I've never seen Mike Conley as more than an slightly above average point guard, honestly. 168 and stolen bases 14. Joe, we kind of spoiled it for ourselves already, but that one is none other than
Mike Trout.
My cousin John Bisco, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
It's not a question that we should feel sorry for Pete Rose or whether he served his time. None of that is relevant. What is relevant is the gambling deterrent in baseball is perfectly effective. Nobody bets on baseball, and I mean nobody. Yep. And the reason is absolutely clear. If you change that deterrent, even if you wrinkle it a little bit, You run the risk of undermining the game of baseball. If you reinstate them, you are fooling around with major deterrent that has been perfectly successful.
And
I think a lot of people outside
I like Chris
Laker
Paul.
fandom wanted. I think it's just one of those things where the Lakers, when they're playing well, they're similar to the Yankees, where when they're playing well, they have a lot of haters, which is okay. And LeBron's you're in or out with him, so I get it. And I also feel like they added pieces in the offseason that just didn't fit.
Very special episode, a timeout first. We have 4 people on the show and 2 guests, and we will be going debate style. Our topic, MJ or anyone else, who is the greatest player of all time in NBA basketball?
I know that was a little lengthy, Derek, but I had to wrap it up.
No, I'm glad you got your Phillies fix in there too. So you got someone in there just to talk about.
So I would say they're going to keep going down. In fact, I'll say by All-Star break, they're back like at least 18, 19 games by then.
What does that say about you, Joe, that you went with a team that's going to go down and we went positive?
I know. I went negative in this landscape right now.
So the Sixers need a guy that can create his own shot and is not afraid to take the shots in those moments.
Today is PEDs, and ultimately, should the steroid era players be in the Hall of Fame? What should be done about the steroid eras or the steroid era players in the Hall of Fame?
My overall shirt, I mean, I'm wearing the shirt. It's A-Rod related, it's to forgive him, for what he did.
This is one of the most interesting sports topics I think that is out there. I think if you're sitting at any bar in America and this topic comes up, you could find 8 different opinions going down the bar row.
For those that don't know, Joe, we had this planned out several weeks ahead of time.
Derek, you're on the ball, Derek.
Just so happens that it lined up perfectly. But should college athletes be paid? In the Western Conference, yes, Joe had it. The Phoenix Suns are officially going to the NBA Finals. Well, and here we go. Cue the NBC NBA Finals music from the 1990s. Play it in the background. In the NBA Finals here, number 2 seed out of the West, Phoenix Suns. Number 3 seed out of the East, Milwaukee Bucks. My uncle Jim Gano. Eric, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Play with passion. Go to school, do your schoolwork like you're supposed to. Don't necessarily treat basketball as an end. Treat it as a means to your end.
Uh-oh. I tried to be different, okay?
I'll just stand up and let you, Joseph, he's looking at you.
Can I take it first, Derek, please?
The Olympics. It's starting up on, what was that, Friday the 23rd, I believe. So here is your video for the Olympics preview about every single sport. We're going to talk about every one. I think there were about 38 of them that we came up with. Now, recapping the NBA Finals, the same guys we brought on to preview the NBA Finals.
You know what? I'm going to go Nigeria with the silver, and then I'll have Slovenia get the bronze. Forget about.
Okay. All right.
You know what? It's great this isn't going to be recorded and being on social media for the rest of eternity.
Well, the NBA draft's always exciting, even though we didn't get our full college basketball year last year with COVID. It was exciting to see the national championship being played, the whole tournament. A lot of these players are going to be, like we always say, they're going to be big time stars. Some of them will be busts. And it'll be interesting to see in the next couple of years what we have.
But until next time, we appreciate everyone. But thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Stay safe and take care. So we hope everyone enjoyed that little compilation video. There were definitely some good ones in there. We got all our interviews, we got all our guests, and we got a couple cracks from Joe and whatnot,
Mike.
but and Mike and and I'm sure I'll kick it to Joe, but I think we want to start by thanking the guests who came on. They were absolutely great with all their knowledge and really the dynamic. It's not easy to just throw a third person in there, especially after all the episodes that we've been doing, and they just click right away. But it seemed to do that with every one of our guests. We started with Phil Angle. We ended with Phil. Phil, you did a great job. Stuck to
I think
baseball,
all our guests
stuck to what he knew. So
yeah, I think all our guests had one thing in common, and they were all very knowledgeable. And they came in with good information. We never had to say, "Oh, that's not right," or they knew what they were talking about. So I think that was one of the things I kept going back to is our guests are very knowledgeable, and that's important in a show like this. So thanks to all of our guests, and that was definitely what I thought about that.
yeah. So Phil Angle, Mike Azalina was on for a bunch. Dan Villani did a couple shows with us and an interview as well. Leonard Tabone, who has the trophy for longest episode that wasn't
That was a long episode.
that wasn't a play-by-play episode.
Right. We did those too.
Kyle Mesa came on you saw him for the Super Bowl episode. Nick DiGirolamo, Joe's cousin, was on for a couple. Phil Gunther came on for a couple. Fantasy expert Joe Dolan. That feels so long ago, but don't forget about that one.
That was a nerve-wracking show.
My cousin John Bisco came on for a couple. We appreciate him coming on. And then the interviewees that we had, the three of them, my uncle John Bisco, Joe's cousin Dan Villani, as I previously mentioned, and my uncle Jim Gano, which actually holds the most viewed episode of Time Out with Derek and Joe currently. So
he was awesome too. He was so good.
Yeah, all three of them very fun stories.
They were.
So if you only just got to see those little clips in that compilation videos, jump back and watch those interviews because they were very fun to talk to, and stories that I'm sure Joe didn't know about Dan or I didn't know about my two uncles. So it was very, very fun to do. But Joe, I guess this will be your feel free to make it a long one, but your final thoughts here for the show.
Yeah, no, it takes a long time and a while to put a show like this together. It takes you see me and Derek, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes. Got to start with my parents for number one. They are patient with me when it came to dinner and different things like that. Just things you don't think about. People that aren't watching the show, they're just watching us, but it does stuff like that. Schedule changes, all that stuff. Me and Derek had to do, but Derek, I'll save you for last. My brother was great, not just coming on the show. We talked about it a lot. My sister-in-law Andrea, she was also very, she would talk to me about it, ask me how it's going, and that support just means a lot. And that's the type of family that I have. I won't go into extended family, but of course they are important too, that they helped out. I will say a couple shout outs to people I work with real quick. Three women that always would ask me how my show was doing. Rebecca, she would always ask me. She would always at least follow the show. I know Carolyn that I work with, and Rachel. Those three were very important, and just like at school, just hearing about things and wanting to know. So I appreciate those ladies for I'm trying to think of the right word. I guess just questioning and just seeing how it's going. So I appreciated that, especially as it was getting off the ground. I also will give a big shout out to my friend Amanda, who without her, I did many shows at her place. She would help me with audio if it wasn't working right. She would help me with some content. She did some research for me. There's just a lot of things I can thank her for. So I'm always grateful that she's a good friend and that she helped me along too. And then your family, Derek, your mom, your dad, everybody was so grateful. Your sister, they all were and brother-in-law, they were all very good about sharing and liking and commenting. It was so nice to know that. And for people that don't know, our families have known each other a long time, but this show does not get done without a lot of people. And I will continue to say that. Your girlfriend, Lindsay, who from the get-go, she was such an important part of how this was going to go. And she helped you with so many things and considerably helped me with a lot of things. And just her voice and her time she spent was very admirable, and always thank her for that. And not last but not least, you, my friend, you had a lot of patience to deal with me over the last 80 episodes, and we put out a lot of good shows. So I appreciate you for being such a good friend and a good partner, and we'll definitely stay friends even without the show. And but thanks for everybody out there just supporting us, and we had a good time doing the show. So thanks again.
I did want to add, yeah, you got to see different backgrounds for Joe throughout the entire time, but you were stuck with my one clear shades back there.
Oh,
But yes, and Joe hit every point pretty much. Want to reiterate to thank you to our guests. You were great. We definitely appreciate all the knowledge base that you brought to the show and the research that I'm sure you did just for the episodes that you came on. So we appreciate that very much. And we appreciate the interviewees who came in and decided to talk about their life. It's not very easy for a lot of people to talk about themselves and brag about well, if they didn't brag, they certainly didn't brag, but talk about their awards and such. So we appreciate all three of them coming on and giving us those stories that are going to remain out there forever now, so people can go back and constantly watch. Of course, the family, both families, both sides. Joe said it. You continuously liked, continuously shared to try to build our fan base, which was awesome. I don't want to name everyone, but because I'm sure I'll miss some, but everyone in the family, I appreciate them very much for what they did to help us out and to support. And yes, you mentioned my girlfriend Lindsay. For those that don't know, she was just as important as me when it came to getting the video up and ready to go. So I appreciate all that she did. And when it came to editing and helping talk through issues that I was having with the show and whatnot, and just helping me constantly, and I appreciate everything that she did as well. I'm using the word appreciate a lot, but it's necessary to to let people know. And I did want to say it's been probably since college that I even thought about doing a YouTube show, and it finally happened. So and we're not successful. I wouldn't say we were a huge success, but I will say to do what you enjoy doing. I had a great time doing with Joe, and he knows that. Very cliche, but life is too short to just go to work, come home, go to work, come home. I could have done that, but while I was working at home and then just sat around. But we decided to talk about something that we love doing or talking about, and that is sports. Sports are a very integral part of both of our lives. So we started to start this YouTube channel, and hey, start a YouTube channel. Go back to school for something that you want to learn, or learn the piano, whatever, life is too short to do something that you want to do. Put the effort in, don't cheat yourself. Go in 100% and So that way you don't think later on about, oh, I wish I would have done that YouTube channel back in the day. But now I can say that Joe and I actually did that. And of course, Joe, thank you very much for being my partner over this past year. It's been very fun. You saw a bunch of those moments that we had together, but without a doubt, yes, we will remain doing things together outside of Timeout with Derek and Joe. But it was a pleasure doing this with you, and we were a success. I take that back. It was successful. We built
2,000 views. We want to say that 2,000 views, 80
over 2,000
episodes.
views. Yep.
We worked hard on every episode. I poked fun at the Olympics a little bit because that got stressful. We did a lot with that too, though. I just think the whole thing is that, like you said, when you do something, you don't want to do it like half. You want to do it all the way in. I think we did that. I think we did a great job with communicating, getting things situated, scheduling, all that stuff. But yeah, I think it's a success because we had people follow us. We had people that wanted to hear about it, and we wanted to bring it to everybody. And but the one person I want to definitely thank that I can't forget because she followed us from day one. That's our former teacher, Miss Elizabeth Birch. Thank you, Mrs. Birch, being out there and enjoying our show and following us, because I know I can speak from Derek too, that she was one of my favorite teachers at EC, and not a day goes by that I don't think about her. And sometimes we talk on Facebook chat. So I definitely a person that in my life has been important, and also that she would still keep in contact is awesome. And I'm happy that she enjoyed the show.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Birch. And for everyone else who was not mentioned, we thank you very much for coming with us on this journey. It was a pleasure coming to you every week with new episodes, new content, and we hope that you very much enjoyed. Well, Joe, it has been a pleasure, my friend. But this is where we will sign off. And for the final time, I will say thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Always stay safe and always take care.